Welcome back, everybody, to Sanity Loss, a podcast where there's a whole new cast but the same actors.
True story.
Very true.
So, as everyone likes to know, I have no qualms telling everybody when we're recording these episodes.
Oh.
So, it is 2 days before Thanksgiving, and all I can think about is BLTs.
What? What?
Bacon, lettuce, and turkey.
I mean,
Way to
BLTs
go.
are pretty awesome and probably deserve more thought, but
I understand, but is that a Thanksgiving food for you?
No,
Sure
I
sure
heard
it
it
is.
on
Bacon,
another
lettuce, turkey.
podcast.
I mean, I hear you, Nite. That actually is a good call.
I
Yeah.
heard him, and I choose to ignore it.
what you need to do, and it's probably a little far away from you, but there's a deli right around the corner from us that makes a triple-decker BLT, and it is probably the best one I've ever had. It's fantastic.
And it's worth it. It's
I
definitely
wanted
worth
my heart to stop. I know where I should go now. I will say, I bought everything, and so there's a person at my church who runs a bakery, and will
What?
uh
A good bakery?
It's the Italians people bakery.
Oh, really? In
Mhm.
in Levittown?
Yep.
Oh.
And so
Who runs that?
he runs that.
Is it somebody I know?
It's Fetter's uncle.
What?
Oh, okay.
Or I think he runs it, or he
Owns it, or has some,
he has some
Connection.
management.
he has some sort of managing role where he'll on Sundays bake a whole bunch of bread. Not ginger dead men, but will bake a whole bunch of bread and we'll hand it out to people at the church. Every once in a while, I get them. Not all of them are my favorite. And today, I looked over and I was like, oh yeah, I should put that. Oh, the bread has evolved into a living organism.
Oh no!
Whoops.
No.
Fortunately, I have another loaf that he gave me of the same exact bread, but older, in my fridge. So it's like, I should probably check that because I want BLTs tomorrow.
Did you check it? Do you have good bread?
I in telling the story,
Uh-huh.
I remembered that I had to.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you have not.
He has
I
not done
haven't.
so yet.
Talking of sandwiches, though, speaking of sandwich, that was a bad sentence.
I'll check now while you're telling your story.
John, I forgot to tell you about this.
Okay.
I came across a recipe while I was looking for Thanksgiving recipes for a Thanksgiving leftovers grilled cheese that looks
Oh,
absolutely amazing. So it's
Okay.
essentially a slice of brie, like a thin
Mhm.
slice of brie, turkey, cranberry sauce, and then Gouda. And then you mayonnaise the bread, rather than buttering, mayonnaise the bread into a grilled cheese. Oh my gosh, it looked amazing.
I'm not convinced. I'd try it, but
I bet you could put stuffing on that too, actually, and it would still be really good.
yeah. Although at that point, are you grilled cheese or is it just a sandwich?
It sounds like you just want
I mean, really, it's just the Wawa gobbler at that point.
That's what is right about to say.
No, the Wawa gobbler is not that fancy.
It's a sandwich that you can put lunch meat and stuffing on. That's all the gobbler is.
That is true. Yeah.
And stuffing is just it. Every time I look at stuffing, it doesn't matter how good you make it. It looks like regurgitated bread. Okay,
Well,
and it tastes like it too.
well. Have you had
texture.
corn? Have you had? Well,
I don't like corn.
do you like cornbread? Because cornbread doesn't have
Is
real
there corn in the
it.
cornbread?
There's cornmeal, but it's not
Yeah.
chunks of corn. It doesn't. I don't think
Depends on the cornbread,
cornmeal.
but
Yeah, cornbread doesn't really like taste like
Corn. That's what I was gonna say. I don't think it
Yeah,
tastes like
it's
corn.
sweeter.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So my grandmother, so you probably wouldn't like this, Dave, if you don't like corn kernels, but my grandmother would make this southern version of like a cornbread stuffing or corn casserole. It was like it was essentially like a really sweet, like super moist, like cornbread, but it wasn't as dense. It was like milkier and it had like corn kernels in it. Anyway, it's delicious. I love it. But if you don't like corn, then you probably wouldn't like that.
I I think we had this conversation a year ago because I
Probably.
remember this.
Probably. It's one of my favorite like Thanksgiving sides.
Yeah, because last year we were like, "What's your favorite Thanksgiving side?" Blah blah blah. This year we're more like, "Everyone's dying." in game. Okay, you little freaks, listen to this. I'm no Death Note. The bread's good, but
Yay.
I
Do you have
but
bacon?
upon inspecting it, yeah, oh yeah, I bought that on Friday or Sunday. But upon inspecting it, I found a moldy cucumber underneath it. So,
Okay. It sounds like you might need to like open and check your refrigerator a little more often.
oh yeah, no, for sure. It's literally because of like the cooking stuff on
Yeah.
Sundays,
Yeah.
where it slips my mind, and then I'm like, okay, like I don't buy like a bunch of other stuff,
Yeah.
but it'll be like, oh, I didn't need this ingredient. I can hold on to it, and then in the week, like because something got put on top of it.
Right.
I'm
You
like,
don't end up using it.
oh,
Yeah.
like I have frozen chicken wings in there that I bought in February.
Well, they're frozen though.
Yes, they're frozen.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I'm like, they are getting used by the end of the year. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but they're gonna get used.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you accuse me of like turning
metagaming.
into mold in the fridge the other day, John, that I got very offended about?
What did
It
I
was
accuse
metagaming.
you of turning into mold?
Yeah.
was your sour.
Well, this is about
I think
story
I
if
was
you
just
can't
saying.
remember.
I was making a
Yeah.
comment in general about like the.
No, he accused me of feeding him moldy food, essentially.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did
What, you
not.
give him cheese?
No. No. Whether he wants to admit it or not, he accused me of squirreling away food in their fridge and then feeding it to him when it's moldy
he's not
and
gonna admit
gross.
it in a
I mean, I
recorded
don't think
space.
you may have jumped to that conclusion. I certainly made the comment about you squirreling food away. I
Yes,
did
you
not
did.
imply that you fed it to me.
I
It
think
just
that's-
sits in the fridge.
I think that's where this conversation started, was you were asking me if I was feeding you moldy food.
I mean, I'm inclined to side with Chaos and say Elizabeth is clearly right on this one. So
That sounds like safety, not chaos to me.
oh, don't worry, I'll throw it completely the opposite direction later, just because. Definitely all the moldy food.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, John, we'll just find out. When we
I
all
will
meet up
say-
at PAX Unplugged, and we'll see if you are growing green fuzz on your forehead.
I happened to look in the crisper the other day, and those grapes that you've got in there are looking
Oh,
a little
I
suspect.
forgot about the grape.
It all comes
Case.
full circle.
Close.
And
Elizabeth
And,
is making grape jerky.
how when was
Feed
last
them
time you
to
had
you,
grapes, John?
though.
No, I never said you fed them to me. This is entirely in your head. I am
I'm
just
not
making
denying-
the comment that
I'm
this
not
food
denying
resides
that
in
there
the fridge.
there are times moldy things in our refrigerator.
Well, that's what the fridge is for. Holding things until they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Until they will
It's
kill you.
true. No, I'm just keeping an ever ready storage of, penicillin for when we get sick this winter
When the
or
world
something.
ends and we need to heal
Science
ourselves.
experiments.
Yeah.
Penicillin. I'm allergic to amoxicillin.
John, aren't
Yeah.
you allergic to penicillin?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those, like, when I was a baby, they gave it to me and I got a
Same
rash.
here.
And so
Forever
my
and
general
for always.
practitioner, like, when I brought that up recently, was like, yeah, that happens a lot. You're probably not actually allergic to it, but, like, kids like have that reaction and then they just say you're allergic. But if you were to take it now, you would probably be fine. But yeah, that I have
Err on the side of
penicillin
safety.
and amoxicillin childhood allergy.
Yeah.
They're on the side of caution.
Yeah,
Look,
exactly.
I don't really trust a lot of things that I probably should. Like, if I told people how long it's been since I've been to a doctor, I get yelled at.
I mean, I
Yeah,
feel
I
that
mean, it's been a
though.
couple years since I've gone. I haven't
Yeah.
been.
I think it's been 2. I think it's we
Yeah,
didn't go this year.
Last time I went was when I like hurt my thumb. I think that
Hold
was the
up,
last
I
time I
can
was there.
figure this out.
Yeah, I mean we definitely didn't go this year yet. We might have gone last year. I can't remember. I don't always feel very supported by my doctor, so I don't want to go.
If the process wasn't just so tedious.
Mm-hmm. To be told,
The-
like, I mean, the last time I went to the doctor, no, I guess it has been 2 years, John, because the last time we went was when they wanted to put me on all those medications for something I didn't need.
Yeah, was it last time? Or
It was a year and a half ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a year to almost 2 years ago. Yeah. So,
yeah, it was whenever I had to wear that brace on my thumb because I
Mhm.
like jammed it when I was working out or
yeah.
sprained it or
Yep.
whatever.
I looked it up. I haven't been to the doctor since 2017.
Oh, that is a long time.
Yeah, and then it's like the doctor I've seen my whole life retired, and I'm like,
Yeah. See, that's where it throws you off because then you have to go and
And
find
I'm
a new
like,
one.
great.
The worst.
Now somebody else is going to see all the bits and parts.
You make an appointment.
and
You're supposed to show up 15 minutes early. They finally call you back 20 minutes after your appointment, and then you sit in the room
It's a
for
whole day.
another 20 minutes
I know you have to take
before
a
the doctor
whole
comes in and
day.
says the doctor will come in and see you for 5 minutes, and then you're like,
You're done. Yeah. Okay.
So
All
I-
listeners, you should go to the doctor. You really should go to the doctor. Do
all
not,
listeners, don't listen to her.
Don't listen
You
to
do what you
us.
want.
Go to the doctor.
You live your life.
No.
You live your life.
You'll die.
I can mute you in editing.
Wow. Wow.
I won't
It's very
because that's
kind
more
of
work.
you.
But I
You're
can't.
welcome.
Just so you know, I could.
Just so you know,
Well, you might
you
have
can
to,
show
because
up
those are-
here, and your character will be a mute. Yeah, nah, it's. I remember listening to a podcast where like the person was a doctor, and they like someone asked like, why are doctors always late? And they're like, you want to know why we're always late? All it takes is one person showing up late.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it
the
just
way the
cascades.
doctor thinks, and it's like, hey, let's say you're at 2:00 in the afternoon, and you get there like a good person, like as we ask you to, 15 minutes early, blah blah blah. You sit there. The reason why sometimes it takes you 30 minutes to an hour to get back is because the first person was 10 minutes late. And then that just snowballed more and more, and then some people have questions and everything. And sometimes I don't get a lunch because somebody's late.
Yeah. Yeah. My job in college, in high school and college, was to follow an eye doctor around. I'm not even making this up. This was my job. I did this for 4 years. I would follow an eye doctor around and sit in on his appointments. And like, I
And
would
trip him.
take notes, but my real job was to keep him on schedule. And I would have to be that like uncomfortable person who would like, because he would talk forever, who would have to like interrupt him while he's like talking. And I would do that thing where there would be moments where I would literally be like escorting the client, the patient, out of the room as he is talking to them to try and keep him on schedule, because he would get so behind that we would be hours behind for a regular day. So it was my job. They hired me as a 17-year-old kid to like order this 40-year-old man around so that he would stay on freaking schedule.
That's when you look him right in his eyes, and be like, I'm letting you know, if you go over 5 minutes, I'm going to vomit on you.
definitely look him in your eyes, though.
Yes.
Not in his eyes.
That
your
way
eyes.
he knows
That would
that
be very disconcerting. That would be very upsetting.
Take your eyes
exactly.
out
Look at him.
and look at yourself.
Yeah. Because you're
Or
like, this
take
is
your
how
eyes
much
out and
I
make them
care
look at each
about
other.
eye health. Now all you guys roll sanity for that mine. for that little...
No, you're not taking more of my sanity this early in the game.
You know what, though? This is a good way to say this, because we were talking about this earlier, but Elizabeth didn't join. I think what we're probably going to do is not roll
Oh.
luck at the beginning of every session.
Yeah.
I think, like, upon reflection of what I said afterwards, I think I'll let you guys know of certain times, like, as, like, maybe this, if a new day starts, which is kind of rare with the way we play, but I don't know. I think not that I regret you guys having all that luck, because I think it was good, but it's like sometimes I think it's like, oh man, we lean on it a little bit because it's like, well, I can get out of the thing because of luck, which it's like that's what it's there for, but it's like,
It's
well,
a
I'm gonna
finite
get
resource.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
I feel like we had
also
talked about that even last season, that we were going to change how that worked.
Yeah, because it's just like one of those things where, like, I don't know. I want to make it feel a little bit more like thoughtful than just like, whatever. Next episode, I'm gonna get at least potentially get 10 back, and
I mean,
so
at least personally, I never found it to be, or never thought of it as, if I spend this, it's no big deal. I just get more.
Yeah,
it was
I mean,
always
very
much
often I failed those rolls anyway and didn't get it, but yeah.
It's always very much I don't got a lot to work with here.
Yeah.
And when it's a luck roll is asked for, it's gonna be painful.
Yeah. I mean, I
So-
think it's worth trying it a different way and, like, maybe,
yeah, with new characters. So
yeah,
we'll see.
we can adjust
But-
if we need to.
But yeah, at some point, I think I don't know. Maybe there'll be moments in there, but it's like, yeah, I think like just due to the way we record these, of just like at most, I think the longest episode was like an hour 20, and that was in chapter 1, because John and Elizabeth just wanted to talk with each other as their characters in the woods. I'm just like,
You know,
"Are
that's
you
the
gonna
best
kiss?"
content. Don't even pretend.
I can pretend all I want. That's like literally what we're doing.
Wait, you mean
But
this
here's
isn't
some
real
music.
life?
Nope. Just like this music that, who knows, maybe I'm going to hate after I hear it
Oh, gosh.
in 3 minutes after it has to loop. But now we are in chapter 5, part 2. Yeah, so this is a whole new chapter for everybody. If you guys missed the first part, I think this is like, I think this is chapter 5. Like, if you're like, I don't want to just pick up where we are. Like, I think it's possibly the best point, but there might be some things that you're missing because of random information. But pretty much yesterday, last time we played episode 1 of this, we have our whole new cast of characters. We have, as soon as I find it, there it is. We have Adele Deli Lockhart, August Lockhart, and somewhere on this list, David Winters. I'm like looking for a picture, but for some reason it's not on like a little character art. So these three, you guys are all like just shy of 30, right? Are you guys in your 30s? 25-ish?
Yeah.
mid-20s. I'm
Mid-20s.
24.
Mid-20s? Yeah. So fresh recruits to a new government program called the SSD. What does it stand for? Well, you have to join to find out. Okay, I don't have a name.
Stands for
But
Solid
it's super secret.
State Drive.
It's for Solid Spooky Detectives.
Solid spooky.
As opposed to
detectives.
those liquid ones.
Yes, or
Supernatural
those gassy
secret
ones.
detectives.
Yes. Secret spooky detectives.
I think we went
And
through
very
a
official.
pretty large number of random options like that when on the streams at one point.
Yeah, SSD is a long-running fake program in the Itisdpayne random junk I do, where it started off with Nite and I playing Phasmophobia, and we created the SSD. But who knows? Maybe that could be part of it. But anyway, they were tasked with coming to the America. Is that what somebody said?
Yes. It's a movie.
I do. Yes, I know. Well, I haven't seen the movie, but I know what you're talking about now. To Nanticoke, Pennsylvania, where they're heading to the Concrete City. Back in the late 1800s, it was promised to be a way of the future, but a city of the future. But now there are rumors of the Eyes of Ophidian potentially at some point hiding up in there. And so, you guys are tasked to go there. And pretty much the only other thing, they were all recruited by a much older Charles, but excuse me. But the other important thing is that the person who is their handler or their the person who gives them their missions and stuff is none other than Tim Richmond. Timothy Richmond. And so, yeah,
Also,
you guys
a legend in the Winter's Home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, many a knives and apples drift around there. I imagine he has like a little pin with an apple with a knife sticking in it. Like a little lapel. But yeah, you guys are pulling up here. It is I can't remember if I mentioned to you guys, but it is February 29th, 1972. Yeah, it's a Tuesday. You guys are kind of getting in there at midday. Some other information that we just didn't have time to share because story-wise it made sense to end it there is that there are pretty much rumors of strange activity in the Concrete City at night. So what that pretty much like lights drifting around in one of the, they weren't especially clear on which room, or not which room, but which building, because there are 4 remaining buildings that are standing up there that are kind of intact of standing there. And yeah, pretty much your mission is a recon mission to see if there's any traces or any information that you guys can glean from potential leftover of the Eyes of Ophidian from that group from being there.
Are the lights the only thing that have been experienced there, or other like weird things?
That's the recent stuff. Like you would know, they would have told you history-wise that it seemed like this may have been a place where, and I think I mentioned this last episode, where Uncle Buster, Road Circus, is theorized to may have come out of this city, the Concrete City, which at that point, it's not 100% sure, but it's they knew that it might have been a central meeting place there because at that point the Concrete City would have already been abandoned.
So this could be where he like got his beginning with the cult, essentially.
Or one of his like the hub for Pennsylvania.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So is this basically like 4 buildings in a line, or is there kind of any kind of shape to this?
There's pretty much like originally there was many concrete buildings that were built up there. However, just due to time and age and just people kind of coming and kind of ruining the place, there's and just nature taking it back. There's only 4 main buildings. Like what I think last episode you guys looked it up on Google Maps.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more intact than what's there, than what you guys saw. Like they're still like buildings kind of put together, but they're not like mansions. They're like almost like small single family homes.
Okay. And what time of day is it when we get here?
Right now it'll be the kind of mid-afternoon.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So you guys have a couple of hours before. Like we'll say it's like 3, and so.
And did we come expecting to stay after dark? Was that part of the reconnaissance?
Yeah,
okay.
they would have told you that.
Okay.
So you guys are prepared to stay.
All right. All right. So if I remember correctly, I was driving.
Yes.
So
if you guys want to talk in the car and make up plans like while you're getting there, like we can do that as well before pulling in.
Yeah, I think when we were like scene setting last time, we were talking about like that. Oh gosh, I don't know my character's name. I need to figure that out.
Adele.
Thank you. Was kind of like, chattering on to the guys. So I imagine she's like has done a lot of research into like the history of, this area in general, and then like the whatever is known about the Eye of Ophidian's activity there. And so she's just been like essentially talking incessantly the whole time, unless someone like stops her or like engages or asks questions.
So would we have Windows
That was
sounds?
my computer. I was taking a screenshot to show you guys how far away Nanticoke was from Centralia, and then I forgot that it was going to make a noise.
I was like, I don't think that was mine.
I know it wasn't mine.
Don't worry, the audience heard it, and they're going to wonder the same thing.
Sort of like getting having Discord notifications on streams, and
Yeah.
wait, what?
So pretty much, if you guys look into Discord, that's like technically cut off Centralia. That little line at the bottom is there, but it's about a 50-mile.
Okay, so it's not
trip.
close.
But if you remember, your characters may not remember this, but you as players would have remembered that there were a ton of accounts of people missing around the area.
Yeah. Okay. All right, go ahead, Nate.
So I'm just wondering, as far as equipment goes, would we have stuff like any kind of video recording? 60s is kind of early-ish for that, but I don't know if we might have some sort of cameras.
I was gonna say, do we have specialized equipment because of our organization?
Who wants to roll luck?
Who has good
Let's
luck?
find out. Well, for David, that's a 70 over 55.
Whoop. Is this a multiple luck roll or just a one person?
One person.
All right.
You don't have video stuff, but you have like kind of old like pretty much like kind of old like Geiger counters and
Can we have a tape recorder? That would be a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
yeah. No, tape recorder. Like you have a tape recorder, pretty much like
Film cameras.
not Geiger. Yeah, like pretty much were Polaroids a thing then?
Yeah, I think so. Like cameras?
Could be.
We're in the
fun,
70s, right?
The fun
In the 70s?
question.
Yeah.
When was the Polaroid?
I mean,
That's nice.
film camera is a thing, so we could have film
Yeah.
cameras if you wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I was just,
David would definitely have a film camera anyway. That's,
yeah, you guys can have
that's part of
film.
what he does, but
Yeah, they'll say, yeah, you guys have like a film camera.
I'm wearing one around my neck.
Yeah.
I was more
About,
trying
like,
to figure. I was
like
mostly trying to figure out if
I was gonna
like-
say like chemistry, forensics, something like that, because that would be what August would be into.
I was more trying to figure out if we'd have like video cameras that we could find likely locations that appeared like they might have activity that we'd set up video cameras to record while we weren't directly in that spot.
No, not necessarily for, at least for that, like for, because they were just planning just recon and stuff. So, they, with failing the luck roll, they're like, just take a few pictures. If you find anything, like, just write it in a report and make sure it's documented well. This should be easy in, easy out.
Okay.
Like, you guys have to remember, like, you guys been trained for a couple years, but you
Yeah.
guys are still like fresh
Yeah.
agents.
They're not sending us on what should be the worst missions. Okay, so I imagine that Deli like pulls in, slows down. I'm like hearing the like, gravel and leaves crunching as we like pull to a stop, and she like gives out a big sigh. Okay, you guys ready for this? Our first mission. Can you feel it? Can you feel the energy?
August kind of looks around at the dilapidated concrete buildings and is kind of skeptically looking around, and he's like, I feel like this place should have been demolished a long time ago. We're not gonna find anything here.
David just kind of shrugs and opens the door and starts getting out of the car. Doesn't really say anything at this point.
Yeah, so Adele looks over at her brother and she's like, I don't know. It's like as soon as we pulled in here, I can just feel it. It's it's like an energy just crackling through me. There's something
August.
here, Augie.
August hard rolls his eyes and is like, whatever. I'm not getting my stuff out of the car until we find something minimally interesting.
Well, I'm not sure that that's following the rules, Mr. Rule Follower. You have a job to do.
And I'll do it, should something present itself.
Deli,
But this feels like the newbie wild goose chase. And I'm not gonna play that game.
to that, she rolls her eyes and she like reaches around into the back seat and grabs her knapsack and then huffily gets out of the car.
August kind of like just stomps over to one of the other houses and like opens the door and like.
Oh wow,
peeks in.
you're really far. We were still in the car.
Were we still in the car? I thought
Yeah.
we'd all gotten out.
No,
You two were.
we were
David
still in
got
the
out.
car.
David just got out of the car and was like stretching and looking around like.
August is now like
like
traveling through walls.
Okay.
David
no
takes a look
clicking.
around
Then
and
that
sees,
does not
sees August just like, wait, what? Wow, you're quick.
You now know his rune ability. I don't think there's a teleport rune. I forgot what I
No.
wrote.
I don't think so.
I don't think that was one of them. Yeah, so Deli
fun
gets
now.
out of the car and she like puts on her backpack and just like takes a deep breath, like smelling the forest and the air, and turns to David and she's like, "All right, so what do you think? Where should we start?"
Well, guess these buildings look kind of okay. I guess we could each just start with one and see if we spot anything that, any signs of life, and go from there.
Yeah.
With that, David just starts walking over to one of the
buildings.
I don't know, like just picks a building at random and starts walking towards it.
Dave, can I? You can either tell me if as a player I would know this information, or as a character, or I can roll for it. Would I know anything about any like symbols of the cult?
You guys would know the basic symbol, which I think I wrote it down. I think it's the eye surrounded by the snake.
Yeah. Okay.
There really isn't a whole lot of an eye with a snake wrapped around.
And that's all that's really known. Like I couldn't roll for like more info.
There's that's the most common one, but yeah, if you wanna, I'm gonna say like that's pretty much like
that's all that's known.
Sometimes the snake looks different, but it's always gonna be like, and sometimes like the eye design and the snake design is different.
Yeah.
But it's always a snake wrapped around an eye, and it's always painted a shade of green.
Okay. So Deli starts following David, and she's saying to him, well, let's make sure that we keep an eye out for anything that looks like an eyeball or a snake, anything that, I mean, even if it doesn't look exactly like what we know the Eye of Ophidian looks like, any of that stuff could give us clues. Would we also know anything about the mask or the gauntlet or anything like that? No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
David probably would have some knowledge of that. But
I think David
not
has
something that
some.
He would not have shared any of that information.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think just make sure you can play it right, but I think David has heard and like knows of these things, but like actual abilities and stuff has not been shared.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think.
It was more like
something...
I think Caleb would have been like, if you see these things, just run. Like I think
yeah,
that's
I agree. I don't think it would have. There would have gone into depth on that in any way, and even knowing Timmy, I don't think that David would have convinced Timmy to go into details about anything that happened with that either. Mm-hmm. But he would definitely have known of the mask and some of the stuff related to it, and would have known of Eyes of Ophidian even before joining the SSD, just from private investigation work and using that as basically funding his living while learning more about his past.
Yeah. One other thing, because I was like, I probably should look this up, so I did. The average temperature in February in 1972, the highs was 32.7 degrees Fahrenheit, and the lows were 13.6.
Jeez Louise. So we need to be like fully bundled.
So yeah, you guys would have the stuff, but like, just keeping that in mind. Like,
Is
I'm
it
gonna say
snowy?
Yes, I'm gonna say it didn't tell me snow. Like I am putting snow.
Okay.
There would have been snow.
Doesn't always mean snow.
Do I notice any like foot tracks or any tracks or anything like disturbed?
Not from like looking, not like a quick scan, but if you
yeah, I'll do a
that spot hidden.
Spot hidden, thank you. It's not good anymore, let's say.
So, and kind of the general idea of what David's thinking at the moment, he's just going to walk around one of the buildings first and just kind of do a cursory exterior examination of the building, looking for any signs of stuff on them and any signs of people being in the area or anything else. And that's an 11 under 75 for his spot hidden.
Oh, nice. What? Your spot hidden is 75?
David
an
is a private
incarnation of
investigator
Percy.
prior to joining SSD.
Woo!
I mean, mine's 85.
Wow, mine's 30. I'm just like,
Yeah.
That's what you get for not stacking
la.
your good skills.
Hey, I have
Stink.
good library. I have some other good skills. Just not
Stinking hippie.
spot of it. Yeah.
Take a shower.
I'm communing with nature.
Yeah. Elizabeth, what did you roll for your spot hidden, by the way?
I rolled-
Because I heard a reaction, and I want to know what
I
it is.
rolled 62 over 30.
Okay. So, you actually find footprints. They're
Are they mine?
David's, but no.
I'm just
You're like,
walking in circles.
Hey, there's footprints going behind the...
David,
Behind the thing.
David turns around and is like, "What are you on?"
Nothing, man. My green tambourine. Meow.
The
August is
energy
like,
around us.
August is like, just ignore her. What did you find?
Oh man, the car's actually like, it's the windows aren't fogged up from like the condensation. It's just
I've been
all the
hotboxing the
weed
entire
that
time.
Adele is that Adele is smoking in there.
No.
And that's why everyone ran out as quick as possible.
No. Not
Okay.
canon.
Black tar heroin.
Not canon.
By the way, I named the last episode of chapter 4 heroin.
Oh
'Cause
god.
that's when we were like, heroin's a supplement. Oh man, super intense, and then it's just that. I don't think I'm ever gonna beat the naming convention of chapter 3 though, with all the Christmas songs.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I did like the one. Let's see, can I find it real quick? Episode 1. New roads. Yeah, new roads to old towns.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good name. I like it. Okay, so what did David
So-
see?
Nothing. No. Okay, yeah. So you rolled an 11 under some stupid
Under
number
75.
that I think you just made up. Yeah. So pretty much, you don't notice any foot traffic besides like at least human foot traffic. You notice like it looks like the occasional deer. You also are able to see like when bucks like will go and like grind their antlers on trees like and stuff. You can see a few of that in there, and then like as you kind of are going around, like you still don't see any human tracks except for Adele kind of walking around in a circle. She's like, I found something. The ley lines.
I'm also not stupid, by the way. I do have a 65 intelligence. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you just hotboxed yourself. So no, but you don't see any of that, but you pretty much the way I'm gonna number these houses is like you guys went up the drive and like you're kind of in this clearing way, and you can see some like abandoned, definitely dilapidated, like crumbled buildings. But there's like one line, and it's gonna pretty much going like looking at it from left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, I'll even write it on our little map thing here.
Oh, wow.
So-
Let me arrange how I drew this on my whiteboard.
Yeah, okay. Oops, sorry.
The buildings got smaller the further right on the whiteboard I went.
So, as you kind of like are going through, you can actually see what look like wolf foot, like paw prints going into building 4,
What?
but they're not fresh. Like, and it looks like going in and out, but like you can't tell like how old they are. Like, sorry, with
Like
the 11,
they're-
you can tell you can tell they're not like from this day or like a couple of days. Like they're
like
it
they would be like distinct in the snow that they're there, but also
Yeah.
filled in where it's kind
Yeah.
of like an impression, but not like all the way to the ground.
yeah.
Well, that's scary.
That's
old,
what
it's
gets
fine.
Elizabeth.
Do you share that information?
So, and that's apart from the deer and stuff. There's no other signs of
No.
tracks or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing like that except the giant anaconda that's going around the back. But that's not part of this adventure.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, Caleb.
I know.
Caleb's kid David will
Son,
yeah,
I'm
well,
not you.
well, it's like I don't really see any. It doesn't look like there's any signs of human life going into any of these buildings. Looks like a bunch of animals around, but nothing. Doesn't look like anything's particularly recent. And I guess David's probably at the moment most curious about what the wolves might have been interested in, and will cautiously examine the entryways to Building 4 and see what sort of condition the interior of the building appears to be in.
Okay. What is August doing?
I would say he's kind of like poking around outside the buildings. Like again, just kind of not really taking any of this seriously, so not really super paying attention, just kind of like walking around, looking at like all the graffiti and stuff on the buildings. That's kind of more caught his eye at the moment.
Alright. You said your spot hidden was 85.
Yes.
So in sorry, there we go. In the graffiti, like within the words like kind of written like on the second, like between the first and second building, you can like, it almost looks like different pieces of like the words are being put together to like say something, like where people just spray painted over and over and over and over, like with different tags. But it's like, as you stare at this, like it almost looks like you see like Burn Road Circus, like, and it's just like something scratched like in the beginning.
So
Like
sorry, yeah. August is, kind of looking at that and kind of like is sort of like sees it at first, but kind of glances over it, but his eyes come back to it and he looks harder. And he's like kind of muttering to himself, like, it's probably nothing, but then he like kind of yells out, he's like, "Hey guys, come here."
Deli comes like around the corner. You find something, Augie?
I don't know. I mean, it's probably just, my mind looking for, patterns in the words. But look up there at the tag. Do you see anything? And he kind of points to where the words are at.
Can I see it as he points it out?
Yeah, and like and both you guys, if you want to, can roll spot hidden to see if you can see anything
More.
beyond.
Further.
Yeah.
Well, which buildings is this on, or between?
It is on the first building, but the side facing the second building.
I got
Well, I
a
rolled-
29 under 30.
I got a 23 under 85.
Alright, so that would be definitely
still
a hard
normal.
success.
Oh, right, yeah, hardest half. So yeah.
Yeah, hardest half. um, which is enough to see the secret thing, which, like, it almost looks like, as you kind of look closer, burn is actually part of a longer word. And it's like you can swear that you're making out like a T, and almost and like kind of staring at it like for a minute or two longer. It looks like it says Trillburn's Road Circus.
Would that mean anything to us?
I don't know if that specific name would, but if you want to, you can roll history.
I can. I have good history.
Trillburn would also mean something to David if it's mentioned
Yeah,
to
but
David.
you're going on a nature walk.
I know. I'm just saying if it's mentioned to David.
Where's my history? H. There we go. Okay, yeah,
So
that is a 32 under 40.
32 under 40? Yeah, so you recognize the Road Circus as Uncle Buster, like part of like the Uncle Buster kind of thing, because they mentioned, hey, there was a potential, this could have been a potential place. But Trillburn, was a pretty much a family that is known for going through the Bible Belt doing revival meetings, and there are accounts of at least one, like it's like a family business of like the grandfather, sorry, my brain forgot his name for a second. George Trillburn was like a great like evangelist that would go around, and his grandson, like his sons, like went and like became pastors at different churches, like different church plants, and then some of them would go, and some of the grandsons would go and do the same thing. The one that you guys would have known is that Matthias Trillburn seems to have fallen into the eyes, in some sort of alliance with the Eyes of Ophidian. But when he came on the scene is way later than when Uncle Buster would have been here. And there's no recorded history of Trillburn being on a road circus of any kind.
Okay. Okay, so the connection between Matthias and the circus is a new piece of information for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would I know that Trillburn was in Centralia?
I think I don't think they would have mentioned the events, but there was probably a list of at least just like what your guys like level of the SSD, like different cities that he hit, and so Centralia would have been one.
Mm-hmm.
But the specific events that happened there,
Yeah.
especially like since Charles and Tim were both taking part in that, and then and like I imagine pretty much anything with Caleb, Cora, and Skip is like black labeled, like hidden information. Like nobody sees that unless they have high clearance.
Mm-hmm. But we would know that he had some association with the
yes.
town. Okay.
But like honestly, for August and Delhi, like Centralia is just another city. Like
But we would know that David came from there, right? That's what I'm getting to. If
he would have shared that, because David wouldn't have stayed in Centralia after that. So it all depends where David says
he's from.
from.
Yeah, so I don't know if David has shared anything related to that, but kind of story-wise for David, I think he would have stayed in Centralia until joining the SSD, is kind of how I've had his backstory in my head. So the kind of the general idea that I've had for him is that he basically, after Caleb's the incident with the masked creature, he would have basically worked to learn as much as he could through Centralia and worked as a private investigator to kind of pay the bills and have a good excuse for digging deeper into certain things until either Timmy or Charlie, one or the other, would have drawn him over to the SSD at through some manner of recruiting.
And I'm gonna. So, our history of Centralia, there are still people living there, and people like the fires started in 60. It wasn't like the mass exodus didn't happen until like mid to late 70s, early 80s. I'm kind of historical fiction here. Like, I think after that event, like, a lot of the stuff shut down pretty quick, but you can still stay in, like, if you wanted to live in Mount Carmel, which is still pretty close, and you could go there and investigate.
Yeah,
like, they're kind of just not.
It would have partially depended on where Caleb was being cared for after the, because I imagine he would have been in the hospital for quite a while too. So, I mean, maybe that's Mount Carmel, which I think is where Sarah is at as well.
Yeah, Sarah's in Mount Carmel, so like you guys probably stayed there, and like he probably had to go to like Pittsburgh for some extensive surgery, but I think just so that way we can nail this down. I think Caleb probably and Rose went back and stayed close with Sarah and lived there.
Okay.
So that way, like, someone could help watch Caleb as he kind of got older and like kind of the health stuff that happened from there.
Okay.
So.
So as we're standing there, Deli starts like taking pictures of it, trying to like, get the whole thing, like getting close, and then like, getting the different words, and then getting like the full picture. And she's explaining, she's kind of like putting this information together, talking to August, as she's like remembering all these pieces. So she's like telling him about, like, do you remember when I was telling you about the Trilburn family and how they had this one, they went all over the country doing all that revival stuff, right? Getting everyone all like up in arms about Jesus and all that crazy stuff. But they had that one kid who ended up in the Eye of Ophidian, and no one knows what happened to him or what he actually did. Well, that's his name, Trilburn. But he was never actually, at least from what they know, he was never part of the circus. That's an Uncle Buster thing. And they definitely don't, like, Uncle Buster has been around way longer than Trilburn. So she's just like explaining all of this to him as she's like taking pictures of the words.
As August is watching her, and he's like, I don't know. Maybe this doesn't mean anything. It's more likely that some kid, heard about the mysterious kid that went missing, and has some I don't know what kids do. They like relate to that in some way, and it's just tagging the name up there. I don't know.
I don't know, Augie. I had to dig for this information, and who knows the name Trilburn? That's not a normal name. Come on. Listen, I know you're skeptical, but
why spray paint it on the side of a building here? Like what is that gonna do?
It's a clue, and it's what we were sent here to find. And as she finishes taking pictures, she like kind of huffs away from him and starts calling out to David. So she starts headed towards the like number 4 building to tell him, since August is not listening to her.
August just kind of like keeps critically staring at it, convincing himself that it's not a big deal.
Oh my goodness. So I was just curious, and I looked up Trilburn, and nothing came up with that. But Tilburn, without the R, is that apparently it was a family name found in America in the 1880s, and in the 1880s there were 3 Tilburn families living in Pennsylvania.
What?
I want to say I didn't do any research in Trilburn. I just thought it was a cool sounding name. But anyway, yeah. So while this is going on, David, you're just entering building number 4.
Yeah, just kind of scouting the entry to it and seeing if there's anything that looks out of place, or anything that the animals might have been trying to find in the building.
Yeah, so you take like a step in, and it looks like there's graffiti on the inside as well. It looks like some old broken furniture, like a cabinet, and like it looks like some makeshift chairs and stuff, but that are like kind of piled in like a corner. And then like you kind of, as you're entering in there, like you kind of see like a small doorway that kind of leads to the left, and then like a staircase that leads up to the 2nd floor.
Is there any signs of wolf track or any other animal track in the building, like where the dust and debris might be disturbed more than other spots, especially potentially leading upstairs?
No, like there's nothing clear to be seen. Like it definitely looks like there's a movement. There was like something moving around in there. But like it looks like could have been definitely like some dust unsettled like over by the makeshift things. It looks like there could have been, it looks like pretty much like not clear footprints, but like kind of foot traffic, or like kind of like a little like where the dust is disturbed, like kind of leading to all kind of 3 of those locations. But it's like, it's not like, it doesn't look like anything's been there recently.
Okay, so Caleb's going to or Dave, wow, it's going to take a few sessions, I'm sure.
I don't know. It's okay.
David's going to kind of take in the what he sees, and then kind of file it away, and then turn to leave the building. But before going too far, gets his camera out and kind of lines up a shot with the faded wolf track, and maybe some woods or something off in the distance as kind of a backdrop, and just kind of takes this scenic picture as part of his photo journal, if you will.
Weird.
Hey. You can definitely take that, but I'm going to say as soon as you go to leave the room, like kind of leave the outdoor, you hear from the upstairs. Oh, that's not what I thought was going to play.
I was gonna say, whoa!
That was a change.
I'm trying to find that dumb song that was played.
There is a jazz band upstairs, David. You need to
We're
go
going with
now.
We're going with this, but it sounds like crackly and like kind of faded coming from the upstairs.
Interesting.
We'll see you guys next week.
Interesting.
Jazzy outro.
I'm gonna find the actual song I was looking for, and that's what's actually gonna play. So, yep, that's it. We'll see you guys next week as we explore the concrete city.